meetings are going well, and I think tomorrow's going to go smoothly.
Welcome back to America Decides. Speaker Mike Johnson is staying positive as he fights to keep control of the Speaker's gavel. The House set to vote to elect a new Speaker when the new Congress convenes tomorrow. Johnson will need almost every Republican's support on the House floor to win. He says he's been making calls to those lawmakers who haven't yet committed to voting for him. President-elect Trump did endorse the incumbent Speaker this week and met with him at Mar-a-Lago yesterday. Joining us now to discuss this story is Daniella Diaz. She's a congressional reporter for Politico. And Juliegrace Brufke, she's a senior political reporter for the Daily Beast. Great to have both of you here. Juliegrace, let's begin with you. Do you believe Speaker Johnson has the votes based on your reporting?
Yeah, I was just outside staking out a meeting in his office, and he's had a number of conservatives in and out of there. And right now he's got 15 to 20 undecideds, with Thomas Massie currently being the only hard no. So from what I've heard right now from senior lawmakers, they think he eventually gets there, but he's going to have to make some minor concessions, and it's unlikely it'll happen on the first vote there on the floor.
And Danielle, what could those minor concessions be if he has to make them?
Well, look, Robert, he has made a ton of promises in the last couple of weeks to Republicans who are hoping to get measures in this huge reconciliation package that they're hoping to pass this year. Of course, he's going to need, and he being Speaker Mike Johnson, is going to need every single Republican in his conference to support those measures. And he could possibly have to give certain measures to certain Republicans. I mean, there could be concessions as well to the House Freedom Caucus members. We saw that play out 2 years ago when they were in exactly the same place with then Speaker Kevin McCarthy. So it could be that he has to guarantee that certain Republicans get certain things on the to-do list before in order to get their vote for the Speaker's gavel come tomorrow. But it could be several rounds of votes before that happens.
Juliegrace, if that reality comes to be, as Daniella just spelled out, perhaps many rounds of voting, is Johnson vulnerable at all? Are there any rumblings among your sources that someone else could emerge as a contender should Johnson struggle round after round?
Frustrations right now with conservatives, particularly over the spending bill, on how that panned out in December, and just kind of some of the way that he's handled his leadership tenor since taking over from McCarthy. That being said, you can't beat someone with no one, and a name hasn't officially emerged yet, which kind of makes that tougher on the eve of the vote there. But I mean, if enough members, I mean, they're working with a smaller majority than McCarthy was working with. And right now, if more than two people vote against him, then another name will eventually have to emerge. And I think a lot will hinge on whether Trump kind of continues to stand by him there.
Let's play a clip of President-elect Trump speaking about Speaker Johnson.
I think they'll support Speaker Johnson. I think we're going to have a great time in Washington, and I think we're going to get great support. He's the one that can win right now. People like him. Almost everybody likes him.
Daniella, inside the House, is that seen as enough from Trump, or do you expect he might need to do more to put Johnson over the line?
The endorsement from President Donald Trump was exactly what Speaker Mike Johnson needed going into tomorrow. He had heard silence, and most Republicans had heard silence from Donald Trump in the weeks after that huge spending bill for the holidays, around the Christmas holiday and New Year's holiday. And when that endorsement came out from President Donald Trump, it's exactly the boost that Mike Johnson needed to be able to get support from some of those more conservative members of the conference. Now, is it everything to be able to get him across the finish line? That remains to be seen, but it was definitely seen as necessary for a lot of rank and file members in the conference. Speaker Mike Johnson actually spent time in Mar-a-Lago just yesterday meeting with Donald Trump. He said that just a couple of hours ago in an interview with Fox Business. So it seems that they're talking, and that Donald Trump is really pushing behind the scenes as well to try to secure that Johnson gets the gavel again. But again, it just depends on what those more conservative members of the conference, of the House Freedom Caucus specifically, want in order to be able to really get to that yes when it comes to tomorrow's vote.
Let's listen to Speaker Johnson from Fox News earlier today.
We're going to get this done. Look, I'm humbled and honored to have President Trump's endorsement for the role again, as well as the endorsement of leaders across the conservative spectrum and the Republican Party, all of my colleagues that are standing with us, and we will get this done.
Juliegrace, you spend a lot of time covering Speaker Johnson. You know his personality. What's your read on his presentation today, his tone, his framing of his candidacy at this moment?
No, I mean, I think he's kind of trying to work things with conservatives now. And I mean, the Trump endorsement definitely did give him a boost. But I mean, he tends to be even keeled. And I feel like his message to members has kind of been like, if somebody else can get 218 then, and wants to challenge me, then so be it. And I'll accept that. But right now, I feel like he's definitely trying to work the room and hoping to get there tomorrow morning to avoid that chaos. And part of his message there has definitely been, without a speaker, we're delaying our agenda and being able to potentially delaying some of these inaugural things that Trump wants to get done. So that's kind of a big selling point.
Speaking of what Trump wants to get done, Daniella, let's say we get through the speaker vote, we cover it, and someone emerges, perhaps Johnson. What's first on the agenda for this new Congress? Republicans can control both chambers. Is it taxes? Is it immigration? What are you hearing?
Well, they're still trying to figure out whether they want to do some huge package that would include taxes and immigration, of course, using that budget reconciliation process, a little bit in the weeds, but basically that would mean that they could pass this legislation without needing any Democratic votes, which is necessary because it doesn't seem that most Democrats would even get behind any sort of tax cuts or border security policies, which is what they want to include in legislation like this. So that is the biggest priority for House Republicans going into this year. Of course, Donald Trump wants to get this done as soon as possible. Republicans feel, because they have all three, they have a Republican trifecta, both the House and the Senate, and of course the White House, that it's a requirement from, that's why Americans voted them into office, to try to get this passed. So that's what we're going to see, is these discussions to see what they can land on. Of course, it has to be very specific policy that is part of the budget. That's the only way they can pass this without Democratic votes. So it's going to be a really tricky process, and we're going to see lots of meetings. Should, of course, tomorrow go smoothly and Speaker Mike Johnson regain the gavel.
Tomorrow goes smoothly in Congress? We'll see. Two of the best on the congressional beat, Daniella Diaz and Juliegrace Brufke. Thank you.